going to talk a little bit about Facebook. Now, Mark Zuckerberg may be the face of Facebook, but he's making it pretty clear he doesn't feel he has to show up to all the meetings. Tell us about this.
Not every single meeting. This was a kickoff meeting for the underwriting group. They have 31 underwriters, and this was for the bankers and analysts to come in and kick the tires, meet the management team. But the spin from Facebook has been that Zuckerberg and the company management want this to be as much of a non-event as possible for the company so they can focus on growth and, acting like General Electric and, being a big successful company, which they are. So Zuckerberg did not attend this meeting yesterday, unlike COO Sheryl Sandberg and the CFO David Ebersman. And there were a few engineers, product people, but basically the message was, and there was an analyst who asked the question, why isn't Mark Zuckerberg here? And the answer was he wants to spend time developing the product and the service, and so he won't make every meeting like this. And it remains to be seen. I don't think they've decided yet whether or not he's going to appear at the road shows when they actually, the week or 10 days before they actually sell the deal. There's a series of roadshow meetings around the country. Normally the top management team, including the CEO, goes to that, but it hasn't been decided, or at least we don't know whether he'll appear at those as well.
And how do you think this is being perceived?
Well, I think this is not exactly a company where management has to really sweat and strain to sell the deal. These kind of meetings don't even usually get covered because they're fairly routine. The company is somewhat limited in what they can say to what they've already disclosed to the SEC when they file their registration papers to go public. But it pretty often, like I know in the case of Carlyle last fall, the top executives of Carlyle were at a similar meeting to talk about how they were different from Blackstone and KKR, which are already public.
The more interesting comparison to me is how did Google behave when they went public? 'Cause I think that's the model here, right? It's very young founders of the company.
They were like putting out this stuff about wanting to challenge, not be evil, and challenge the accepted ways, and they did this electronic auction. To your question, I don't literally know if the top executives there attended this kind of meeting back in 2004.
But in Facebook generally has been quite clear. They've been saying, look, the day-to-day management of the company, the interface with the public, the interface with Wall Street, the interface with marketers last month in New York, it's going to be Sheryl Sandberg in that group. And Mark Zuckerberg is going to be heads down making stuff or fixing stuff. And you think that's going to go over well with investors? They'll look over it?
Well, I think it's a factor to be considered. I mean, it's not like they have to worry about selling every share because this will fly off the shelves. And the real challenge is pricing it so it doesn't triple the first day, but also keeping it reasonable in terms of valuations, because people are just going to be crazy to get these shares. I've talked to people who've never bought a stock in their life, and because they use Facebook or they know about Facebook, this is one that they're going to start with.
What do we know about the kind of fees that Facebook is going to be paying its underwriters?
The underwriting fee that we learned yesterday was 1.1%, which is a little below average. It's about half the average for deals this size, and of course, again, reflects the craze for Wall Street to be on this deal. I mean, I think they would have done it for nothing if they could just get their name on the S1.
And let's talk about Yahoo. We're going to talk about Yahoo in a minute with Kara Swisher, who is, of course, Swisher Scoops on Yahoo all the time. Let's talk about Yahoo and Facebook. Any of the analysts asked questions regarding the lawsuit filed last week by Yahoo against Facebook?
There was a question about that, and the answer was we'll have an answer in about 2 weeks. There was also a question about well, how are you really going to monetize all these usage hours by your 800 million users? And the question is, or the answer was, well, we're still working on it.
And again, what they said in the S1, they've pretty much been clear. We're gonna grow. We'll figure it out as we go.
Exactly. So that was they didn't really break new ground in those kind of things. But one of the questions was, why isn't Mark here?
Interesting. Peter, what do you think? Last word to you.
I would be surprised if Mark Zuckerberg was an active salesman on Wall Street. It doesn't seem like his kind of thing.
So you don't expect to see him much in the roadshow or in the actual sale of stock?
I think his roadshow presence will be minimal.
Right. Well, I guess we'll just be missing the hoodie sweatshirt during the roadshow, won't we? Randy, thanks so much. Great story online on WSJ.com.